There are moments in life when a single idea can strike us like lightning, blinding, powerful, and utterly transformative. Some of us spend years chasing change, waiting for opportunity or blaming circumstance. But the truth is, the spark of greatness is already within us. Today I'm going to share 5 timeless principles drawn from 20 powerful lessons that have shifted the very fabric of how we think, work, and live. These are not theories. These are truths proven by history, cemented by results, and ignited by belief. What do you really want? It sounds like such a simple question, doesn't it? But ask it in the silence of your own mind and feel the tremor it sends through your being. Because the truth is, most people can't answer it. They live on autopilot, reacting to life instead of commanding it. They wake up, go to work, pay bills, scroll their phones, and call it a life. But deep inside, there's a quiet ache, a whisper that says, there's more, and there is. There always is, but the doorway to that more only opens for those who dare to knock with the force of definiteness. Definiteness of purpose is not just a nice idea or a motivational phrase. It is the starting point of all achievement. Every breakthrough, every towering accomplishment, every soul who has bent the course of history to their will began with a clear and unshakable answer to that one question. What do I want? Not what your parents wanted, not what society says you should want, not what's safe or realistic or acceptable. What do you want? Until you answer that, you're a ship without a rudder, tossed by the winds of circumstance and the currents of other people's expectations. You move, yes, but you don't go anywhere. You work hard, perhaps harder than anyone else, but without a destination, your effort becomes a treadmill, sweat and motion without progress. Now think of those who made it, those who changed the game, rewrote the rules, built legacies out of nothing but raw will. They were not necessarily the smartest, the richest, or the most connected, but they were certain, unbreakably, unapologetically certain. They knew what they wanted, and because they knew it, the world had no choice but to bend in their favor. Not immediately, not without setbacks, but inevitably. Look at Sarah Blakely. She didn't come from fashion, she didn't have money, she didn't have experience. What she did have was a purpose so clear it lit her path like fire. She wanted to help women feel confident in their clothes. That was it. A single sentence. But inside that sentence lived 1,000 sleepless nights, 10,000 rejections, and an unstoppable drive that eventually turned a one-woman hustle into a billion-dollar empire. You might say, that's nice, but I'm not her. And you'd be right. You're not. You're you. And that is your greatest asset. You have a fingerprint that never existed before and will never exist again. You are the only person on earth who can want exactly what you want. But if you don't decide what that is, clearly, fully, and with emotional intensity, don't be surprised when you keep getting what you never asked for. See, life responds not to wishes, but to clarity. It doesn't yield its treasures to the vague or the uncertain. It opens itself to those who approach it with purpose that feels like oxygen, so vital that not having it suffocates you. Mittedness of purpose is more than focus. It is obsession. It is waking up with a fire in your gut and going to bed with that same fire burning in your mind. It's walking into the world and saying, this is who I am. This is what I will do. Watch me. And here's the secret most never understand. Once you declare your purpose with that kind of intensity, the universe begins to move. People show up. Opportunities appear. Resources find their way to you. It's not magic. It's alignment. Your energy stops scattering in 100 directions. Your decisions become faster. Your actions become sharper. And every step you take feeds the next until you build momentum so powerful it feels unstoppable. That's when purpose becomes prophecy. But none of that happens until you decide. Until you stop waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect permission. Until you take responsibility, not just for your actions, but for your vision. Because a person with purpose is a force of nature. They don't beg for motivation. They become the reason others believe again. You might stumble, you might fall, you might hear no more times than your heart can bear. But when your purpose is definite, you rise anyway. You learn, you adapt, you press forward, because you are no longer asking if you can make it, you are only asking how. And that question always finds an answer. So I ask you again, what do you really want? Not the surface level answer, not the cliche. I'm asking for the dream that keeps tugging at the edge of your soul, the one that scares you because it feels too big, too bold to you. That dream, that's your purpose trying to speak through the noise. Listen to it, name it, and then chase it like your life depends on it, because in every meaningful way it does. Because the truth is, purpose is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Without it, you will always feel a little lost, a little empty, a little disconnected. You'll reach goals and wonder why you still feel unfulfilled. You'll climb ladders that were leaning against the wrong walls. You'll live decades and still feel like something's missing. But with purpose, everything changes. Your fears shrink, your time matters, your energy multiplies. You stop settling, you stop apologizing, you stop shrinking to fit into boxes you were never meant to belong in. And in that place where clarity meets courage, you become unstoppable. But don't wait for life to hand you a mission. Choose one. Don't wait for permission to pursue your dream. Grant it to yourself. And don't wait to feel ready. Start now. Declare it. Own it. Live it. Because definiteness of purpose isn't just the starting point of achievement. It's the spark that ignites a fire of your life. There is a force that shapes empires, carves mountains, lifts men from obscurity to legend. And it lies not in the sword, nor in the coin, nor even in the body. It resides in the mind. Within the depths of the human imagination is a power that surpasses all the weapons of machines of mankind. It is the ability to envision what is not yet real, to sculpt dreams into form, and to hold fast to belief until the world bends to its will. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. These are not just words. They are law, unbreakable, undeniable. Like gravity, like fire, like the rising sun. When a mind dares to dream, it lights a spark, but when that same mind believes with absolute conviction, that spark becomes an inferno. The world has never been changed by doubt. The pyramids were not built by skeptics. The light bulb was not born of hesitation. The airplane did not soar into the skies because someone thought maybe. They were all conceived first in the invisible realm of thought, and then carried forth on the back of belief. Belief is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It's what lifts a mere idea from the ether and carves it into steel, stone, and store it. But belief alone, soft, passive belief, isn't enough. No, it must be belief fused with emotion, backed by desire so intense it burns in your bones. It must be belief that grips you at your core, that stirs your soul, that refuses to let go even when the world tries to beat it out of you. The universe doesn't respond to lukewarm intentions. It bows to those who demand, who command, who know. Consider for a moment the story of Roger Bannister, a man whose name now echoes through time, not because he simply ran fast, but because he dared to believe in the impossible. For years, the world believed that the human body could not endure the strain of a 4-minute mile. Experts warned of death. Coaches scoffed. Doctors gave clinical proof of the limitations. Athletes accepted the boundary as law. But Bannister refused to see limitation where others saw certainty. He trained not just his body, but his mind. He saw the finish line before it was ever crossed. And on that fateful day, when the clock froze at 3:59 at 4, he didn't just beat a time, he shattered a mental prison. But here's what truly proves the point. In the very next year, 37 others did the same. What changed? Not their muscles, not the wind, not the track. What changed was belief. Once one man did it, the veil was lifted for all. The impossible became possible, and then the possible became normal. That is the true nature of belief. It is contagious. It creates a new standard, a new threshold, a new reality. And once belief takes hold in the hearts of many, the world must rearrange itself to accommodate it. You must understand this. Your reality is not fixed. It is not written in stone. It is shaped by your thoughts, molded by your beliefs, and forged by your willingness to act. If you think small, you live small. If you see yourself as a victim, life will hand you more reasons to confirm it. But if you see yourself as powerful, as unstoppable, as a creator rather than a consumer of life, then the world will unfold its treasures to meet your demand. It is not luck, it is not chance, it is law. Every skyscraper piercing the heavens started as a thought. Every movement that changed the world began in the mind of one who refused to let go of their dream. The revolutions that toppled tyrants, the cures that saved millions, the songs that touched hearts, all of them were once invisible, nothing but ideas floating in the mind of someone who had the audacity to believe. You're no different. Your mind is a workshop. Every day you are forging thoughts, dreams, fears, and desires. And whether you know it or not, those thoughts are shaping your life. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. If your thoughts are clouded by doubt, scarcity, and fear, then you will live a life that reflects those very things. But if your thoughts are dominated by purpose, vision, and unwavering belief, then nothing can stop you. The world becomes pliable, circumstances bend, doors open, people alive. It starts not in the world, but in you, in your belief, in your ability to see beyond what is and into what can be. The mind that envisions the future is the mind that creates it. But vision without belief is a daydream, and belief without action is a wish. Combine all three, vision, belief, and action, and you become a force that cannot be denied. You must ask yourself now, what am I believing about myself? About my potential, about my destiny? Are your beliefs empowering you, or are they chaining you? Are they lifting you higher, or are they suffocating your dreams? Because the truth is this, the only limits that exist are the ones you accept, the ones you adopt as your own, the ones you defend and protect, even as they rob you of your future. Refuse to be shackled by the beliefs of others. Refuse to inherit their fears, their doubts, their failures. You have your own mind. Use it. Feed it, guard it, train it, stretch it, because whatever your mind can conceive, believe, it can and will achieve. Not someday, not if, but when. And when it does, when your dreams rise from idea to impact, you will look back not with surprise, but with certainty, because you will know deep in your soul that this reality was always waiting for you, that it was created the moment you believed. And belief, my friend, is not something you hope for, it's something you decide. Decide today. Believe in the impossible. Feel it in your bones. Then go forth and make it real. If there is one truth that separates the masses who merely exist from the rare few who truly live, it is this. Success does not come by accident, by inheritance, or by chance. Success is magnetized, drawn in, summoned with precision by the one whose mind has been trained, disciplined, refined to think only of victory. Those who achieve greatness do so not merely because of talent, resources, or circumstance, but because their minds were first saturated with the consciousness of success. To become success conscious is not a light suggestion, it is the absolute foundation upon which empires are built. If your daily thoughts are drenched in fear, wrapped in worry, and choked by self-doubt, then life has no choice but to reflect that inner blueprint. For the world outside is nothing more than a mirror of the world within. Those who expect failure will find it. Those who believe they are unworthy will subconsciously sabotage every golden door that opens. And those who whisper to themselves, "I'm not ready," will never be. Your mind is a magnet, not a weak, fading refrigerator magnet, but a cosmic force that bends the universe to its pattern. Every thought you harbor, every image you revisit in your imagination, every word you repeat to yourself in silence, these are instructions to the world about what you are prepared to receive. Think poverty, and poverty responds. Think abundance, and abundance begins its journey toward you. Now imagine this, a man with nothing but a child in his arms and the streets beneath his feet. Chris Gardner, a name now immortalized not for being a victim of circumstance, but for refusing to accept it. Homeless, hungry, and overlooked, this man stepped into a stock brokerage office each morning, wearing the only suit he owned, pretending he belonged before anyone else did. He was not merely chasing a job, he was claiming an identity. He was thinking like the man he intended to become. Not a vagrant, not a statistic, not a forgotten face, but a success story in the making. That mindset, unyielding, unshakable focus is what carried him from sleeping in subway bathrooms to owning a multi-million-dollar firm. Chris Gardner's story is not about luck. It is a study in consciousness. It is the raw power of seeing yourself as more, long before the world sees it too. And this is not some fairy tale spun to motivate. It is backed by the cold, hard edge of science. At Stanford University, researchers unearthed a truth that could redefine destinies. Those who believed their abilities could grow, those with what we call a growth mindset, outperformed others by 34%. That is not a minor edge. That is the difference between mediocrity and mastery, between quitting and conquering, this between fading and flourishing. Why? Because the person who believes they can grow sees setbacks not as the end, but as the lesson. They see effort not as strain, but as investment. They see challenges not as curses, but as invitations. They are not afraid to fail, because failure does not define them, it refines them. And most importantly, they believe, not just in the idea of success, not in vague hopes, they believe in themselves. You must do the same. You must build a mental fortress around your thoughts and guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Every day you must choose your thoughts the way a sculptor chooses his chisel, with purpose. Refuse to dwell on lack. Refuse to entertain defeat. Refuse to bathe in bitterness or let envy take root. Choose instead thoughts of expansion, of growth, of victory. Speak life into your vision until your spirit begins to catch fire. The truth is, success is a mindset long before it is a result. Before you see $1 in your account, before the recognition comes, before the opportunity knocks, you must see yourself there. You must walk like it, talk like it, breathe like it. Because when you think like a winner, the world begins to treat you like one. People feel it in your handshake, hear it in your voice, and see it in your posture. Every great achiever, every industry titan, every name etched into the annals of history began with an invisible belief. They saw what wasn't yet real. They carried the seed of success in their minds until the outer world had no choice but to catch up. You are no different. That same power resides in you if you are bold enough to use it. But understand this, success consciousness is not simply about positive thinking. It is about dominant thinking. It is about making success the centerpiece of your mental dialogue. It's about refusing to allow the weeds of fear and failure to take hold. It's about saturating your thoughts with certainty, feeding your belief with relentless repetition, and starving every excuse until it withers away. Begin today. Begin now. Make a habit of thinking like the person you want to become. Let that identity anchor every action, every conversation, every plan. If you see yourself as worthy, the world opens doors. If you think like a champion, your habits align. If you expect growth, you will find it even in difficulty. This is not magic. It is mindset, not fantasy, but focus. You will stumble, yes. You will face resistance, of course, but never mistake friction for failure. The path of success is paved by those who held the vision even when the road was invisible. They didn't ask for ease, they asked for strength. They didn't shrink from challenge, they rose to it. And that, my friend, is what separates the remembered from the forgotten. So, from this moment forward, carry yourself with the confidence of someone who knows it's only a matter of time. Move as though success is your shadow. Think thoughts that build, speak words that empower, and take actions that align with the future you demand. Refuse to entertain failure as a permanent state. See every delay as a test, every loss as a lesson, and every win, no matter how small, as a sign that you are on the right track. Because when your mind believes with unshakable clarity, life has no choice but to respond. That is the law, that is the truth, and that, above all, is your power. Persistence is to character what carbon is to steel. It is the unseen force that hardens resolve, strengthens willpower, and transforms ordinary individuals into indestructible legends. Steel does not become strong by sitting idle. It undergoes intense pressure, relentless heat, and a process of refinement that burns away weakness. So too does character evolve through trials, rejection, and repeated failure. Every stumble, every no, and every closed door is the fire that forges the steel within you. And make no mistake, life will apply heat. The question is not whether it will test you, but whether you will rise with greater strength each time it does. The world is filled with people who almost made it. People who tried once, maybe twice, then allowed discouragement to write the final chapter of a story still being written. They believe the lie that failure is permanent, that rejection is a reflection of their worth, and that obstacles are signs to stop. But the truth that only a few are willing to embrace, is that persistence is the real measure of greatness. Not talent, not intelligence, not luck, persistence. Think of Colonel Sanders. At 65 years old, most people would be thinking about retirement, not revolution. He wasn't sitting on a fortune. He had a battered recipe and a Social Security check. He went door to door, restaurant to restaurant, offering what he believed was something special. 1,009 times, let that number sink in, he was told no. How many people do you know who would keep going after 10 rejections? 50, 100? How many would face 19 rejections and still believe in their dream? But he kept going, because something inside him burned brighter than the voices telling him to quit. Something inside him whispered louder than the rejection screamed. And that's something, that is persistence. It is not glamorous. It is not instantly rewarding. It is often painful, lonely, and frustrating. But it is the hidden thread behind every success story you've ever admired. It is the bridge between where you are and where you dream of going. And yet, persistence is not taught in schools, it's not found in textbooks, it's not awarded with trophies. You learn it in the trenches. You learn it when the deal falls through, when the audience doesn't clap, when your best effort is met with silence. You learn it when life says, you're not good enough, and you look back and say, watch me. Most people stop at the first sign of discomfort. They interpret struggle as a signal to retreat. But the successful, those who truly leave a mark, understand that struggle is the training ground. It's where strength is born. It's where resolve is tested and refined. You cannot have steel without carbon. You cannot have character without persistence. Let me be very with you. There will be moments when quitting seems easier. You get knocked down in ways that shake you to your core. You'll be laughed at, underestimated, even betrayed by people you trusted. You will have days when the mirror reflects more doubt than confidence. You'll feel tired, discouraged, even broken. But these moments are not the end. They are invitations to rise. Because here's the secret the world won't tell you. Your value is not determined by how often you fall. It's determined by how often you get back up. Those who press forward when there is no applause, no reward, and no guarantee, those are the ones who earn greatness. Persistence is not about perfection. It's about showing up again and again, day after day, refusing to let failure write the last word. Think about your own life for a moment. What dreams have you set aside because it got hard? What goals did you abandon after the third or fourth no? What passion still lives inside you, buried beneath fear and hesitation? Understand this, the dream didn't die. It's waiting for you to return with the fire of persistence burning brighter than ever. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need to have it all figured out. What you need is to decide that nothing will stop you, that every setback is fuel, that every no is just another step closer to yes. You need to embrace the discomfort, knowing it's making you stronger. You need to walk through the storm, knowing there's sunshine waiting on the other side. Sunshine most people will never reach because they turn back too soon. Your journey will not be like anyone else's. That's because your calling, your vision, your purpose, it's uniquely yours. And so too will be your challenges. But let that be your power, not your excuse. Let every failure sharpen your edge. Let every disappointment deepen your hunger. Let every rejection harden your resolve. Because when persistence meets purpose, the result is unstoppable. Understand this. The world remembers the persistent, the ones who dared to keep moving forward, no matter the odds. Their names are etched in history, not because they never failed, but because they refused to stay down. They didn't listen to critics. They didn't wait for approval. They believed in something so deeply that quitting simply wasn't an option. So, I challenge you, in whatever field you are chasing, business, art, service, innovation, let your character be hardened by persistence. Let the fire of your desire burn through the cold nights of doubt. Let every wound become a symbol of your refusal to surrender. Be the one who keeps going, even when no one else believes, because you believe. There are two kinds of people in this world, those who quit when it gets tough and those who become legends because they didn't. Be the latter. Let persistence be your signature. Let it be the force that shapes your destiny. Because when the dust settles, when the applause fades, and when all the shortcuts are exposed for the dead ends they are, it will be the persistent who stand tall, unshaken, unbreakable, not because they had it easy, but because they had the courage to endure. The world may doubt you, you may even doubt yourself. But if you choose to persist, if you choose to show up no matter what, there is no limit to what you can become. That is the truth, that is the path, and that is the power of persistence. There is a power so great, so immeasurable, that when properly harnessed, it becomes the very fulcrum upon which success pivots. That power is the mastermind principle, the simple yet profound truth that you become who you surround yourself with. The road to greatness is not paved in isolation. No mountain is climbed alone. Every person who has etched their name into the annals of history, who has stood tall against the winds of adversity, who has built something that outlives them, did so with the guidance, the support, and the influence of others. Success, true and lasting success, is never a solo mission. It is the product of connection, collaboration, and collective vision. Imagine for a moment a ship at sea. One man at the helm cannot navigate storms, manage the sails, and command the crew all at once. It takes a team. It takes unity. It takes shared purpose. Likewise, your journey through life, your ascent from mediocrity to mastery, requires a crew, a chosen few who lift you higher, see further than you can alone, and believe in you even when your own resolve begins to flicker. The mastermind principle is that crew. It is the recognition that when two or more minds come together in harmony toward a definite goal, something magical happens. A third mind, an invisible force, is created. It is in this space that ideas are born, obstacles are crushed, and greatness becomes inevitable. Think about the giants of innovation and industry. Do you believe they succeeded by accident? By sheer luck? No, they formed alliances. They gathered with other brilliant minds and intentionally shared ideas, strategies, and insights. Take the example of Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone, and Warren Harding. These men, each a titan in his own right, did not isolate themselves within the narrow confines of their industries. They met regularly. They exchanged thoughts, challenged each other, refined each other's visions. What they formed was a living, breathing mastermind, a sacred council of minds that sparked revolutions in manufacturing, electricity, transportation, and even politics. Empires did not just emerge, they were forged in the fires of collective genius. And it is not only history that whispers the truth of this principle. Science has confirmed what experience has always taught. According to a revealing Harvard Business Review study, both your income and your happiness are intricately tied to the 5 people you spend the most time with. Let that settle in your soul. Your income, your happiness, your trajectory in life, all of these are directly influenced by the people you allow into your circle. If you associate with those who lack vision, who settle for the ordinary, who make excuses instead of taking action, then slowly, almost imperceptibly, you begin to do the same. You mirror the energy, the mindset, the ambition, or the lack thereof, of those closest to you. But turn that truth on its head and a different picture emerges. When you begin to surround yourself with individuals of power, character, and purpose, when you align with those who push boundaries and defy limitations, then you too begin to grow in kind. You begin to think bigger, dream bolder, act more decisively. The very frequency of your thoughts changes. You are no longer content with mediocrity because your environment demands more. You are no longer shackled by doubt because those around you are too busy believing in what's possible. You need allies in your mission, not just friends, not just companions, but people who challenge you, who won't let you settle, who see the greatness in you, even when you forget it's there. You need mentors, those who've walked the path before and can light the way. You need partners, those who share your vision and will labor alongside you in the trenches. And most importantly, you need a mastermind group, a collective of like-minded warriors, thinkers, builders, those who will not only hold you accountable, but will ignite the fire within you each time it starts to wane. Some may ask, Where do I find such people? The answer is simple. Start by becoming one. Become the type of person that others want in their mastermind. Commit to growth, excellence, and integrity. The world does not hide its eagles. They soar visibly in open skies. But chickens peck quietly in the dirt. If you find yourself grounded, look around. Who are you walking with? Who are you listening to? Who are you emulating? Because if you surround yourself with chickens, you'll scratch at the earth all your life, never tasting the sky, never feeling the rush of wind beneath your wings. Let today be the day you elevate your circle. Let it be the moment you refuse to be the smartest person in the room. Let it be the turning point where you seek those who inspire you, who intimidate you with their discipline, who make you uncomfortable with their success, not because they boast, but because they prove what's possible. Iron sharpens iron, and fire refines gold. So too does greatness breed greatness. Make no mistake, the people you associate will either unlock your destiny or bury it. They will either feed your faith or amplify your fear. They will either propel you forward or chain you to the past. Choose them wisely. Build your mastermind intentionally. And once you've found your circle, never let it stagnate. Keep growing together. Keep rising together. Because when a group of focused, aligned minds set their sights on a purpose, mountains move. Empires rise. Legacies are born. And you, yes you, were never meant to do this alone. My friends, the power to change your life is not in the economy, not in politics, not in some distant lottery ticket. It's already in your hands. Burning purpose, unshakable belief, success consciousness, relentless persistence, and a tribe that fuels your fire. These are not just words. They are laws, they are tools, and they are yours. So I ask you, as you leave this room, this moment, what are you going to do differently? Because the world doesn't need more wishes, it needs your action. When your belief leads you fully awakened, fired up, and focused, the time to rise is now. Thank you.